Tonight, the government has slashed capitation for free-day secondary education from 22,244 shillings per learner to just 12,870 shillings per student. And for the first time in years, day school parents will now have to pay direct fees under the new competency-based education rollout for senior school. It's a sharp contrast to the era of President Mwai Kibaki, whose administration opened the doors to free primary education in 2003 and later expanded access to secondary learning. Tonight, the question many are asking is whether Kenya is drifting away from that vision. And TV's Michelle Ngele Odhiambo begins our broadcast.
In January 2026, Kenya will launch its final phase of the competency-based education system, senior school. But behind the transition lies a financial twist, one that parents say they didn't see coming. For years, day school education has been promoted as the country's most affordable option, one often described as free. But now, under new Ministry of Education guidelines, day school parents will pay 9,374 shillings in annual fees, as government capitation drops from 22,244 shillings per learner for free day secondary education to 12,870 shillings, a reduction of nearly 43%.
First, from Limo Bora's standpoint, we are thoroughly embarrassed. The embarrassment arises from so many things. One, the Ministry of Education just decides that each and every time they want to make serious decision, they just surprise everybody else. They don't follow the law, they don't consult anyone, they just air it out there, and that is a fait accompli. You either pay or your children remain out. And this is contrary to the spirit and the letter of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Article 43, for example, guarantees the right to education. And Article 53 talks about the right of every child to free and compulsory basic education. So from that standpoint, the decisions that the ministry is now broadcasting to the public is a decision which is ill-informed, ultra-vires the law, and counter even to the Kenya Kwanza's promise when they made to Kenyans that they would actually review some of these things, including the CBC.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba, in a statement, clarified that the government has not revised boarding fees in public senior schools.
The government has not revised the boarding fees payable by learners at any level, including in senior schools.
The ministry says the new structure is meant to promote equity, as all senior schools, boarding or day, adopt uniform fees and new learning pathways under CBE, ranging from arts and sports science to social sciences and STEM.
When you talk of equity, it means you ensure that to those who require more assistance, more should be given to them. That is the basic definition of equity. In other words, the institutions that would require even additional infrastructure, classrooms, more teaching and learning materials and all, they would require even more so that they are brought at par. It would be a wrong move for the administration really to have a decision where now they are making the parents to start coughing out more. Some of these parents are the ones who take firewood to school. We witnessed a case where a grandma left two children left in the custody of their grandmothers, literally had to go back to collect fees, and what the grandma would do was basically to collect all the chicken they had in the roost, she had in the roost, and came with those children, those chicken, and told the teachers, please, can you convert this into fees? The frustrations are enormous when the promise of free and compulsory basic education is indeed there. when we are talking about education portfolio receiving a total of 701 billion in this financial year, the 2025 to 2026, where does that money go? If that money has become, it's a problem to transmit it to the schools. Where does it go?
For parents, the concerns are immediate and personal.
Wazazi watafinyiliwa sana. Kwa sababu kama saa hizi tunashindwa na kusomesha watoto, saa hizi wakati hiyo capitation itakuwa reduced, itaonekana most of our children hawatasoma. Already budget imeharibika na naona itaharibika zaidi kwa sababu hata saa hizi tukisema, unasema mtaongezea, yani mtareduce hiyo capitation ya watoto kulipiwa shule. Na already hata mimi saa hizi watoto wako nyumbani, niko na watoto 4 na hata niko na fees balances. Kwa hivyo next year kama kutakuwa hivyo, nafikiri tutakuwa pambaya zaidi.
Sisi wazazi already tulikuwa na mzigo mkubwa kulipa ile school fees yenye ilikuweko. Sasa hii wakituongezea itakuaje? It means watoto wengi watakaa nyumbani. Kwa sababu kama mimi last time nimekuwa na challenge, niko na watoto 2 high school na high school mmoja mwingine college. Kwa hivyo imekuwa challenge, unapata mara nyingi wako wanakuja nyumbani. Na sikizi hata walimu wasikizi hata wazazi. Nimesikia hiyo ni mambo nimesoma kwa simu leo. Ati school fees inaenda kuongezeka. Sasa nashindwa hizo decision huwa sisi tuko wapi kwa hatuuzishwi kwa nini kwa hizo decision, kwa sababu sisi ndio wenye watoto, sisi ndio wenye kuweka hao viongozi kule, lakini wakati ikifika ni wakati wa the decisions zenye zinahusu watoto wetu hawatuhusishi.
We are moving away from Kibaki's vision. Na Kibaki kama mzee alikuwa ameona manufaa ya watoto kwa wamesoma.
Kenya has made major strides in expanding education access. Free primary education was launched in 2003 under President Mwai Kibaki, opening classroom doors to over 1 million children almost overnight, one of the most transformative policies in Kenya's history. 5 years later, in 2008, Kenya rolled out free day secondary education. But the 2026 shift, introducing day school fees while reducing government capitation, marks a significant departure from that trajectory. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Buddy had previously warned that free education is not sustainable, highlighting challenges schools face in maintaining quality and full government funding.
With the senior school rollout just weeks away, schools, parents and learners are waiting for clear guidelines on how this new funding model will work in real time. But for many families, the true test of competency-based education may not just be in the classroom, but also in the household budget. Michelle Ngele, Odhiambo, NTV.